Are you coming in then? Good morning and welcome to the show. But what a show we got lined up for you today. Today is pretty special. Strictly Come Dancing star, the king of ballroom, Mr. Anton Du Beke will be here. He'll be waltzing his way down to Hampshire a little bit later, and we'll be heading north to the wild and rugged delights of Shetland, and another one of my favourite ever food adventures. And don't miss this week's Little Masterclass, when I'll be teaching you everything you want to know about a seasonal veg right now, that braised red cabbage that everybody finds really difficult, but I'm going to show you the secret to getting it right. And we've got recipes on the way from the very talented Mr. Jonny Lake. Will be here. 3-star Michelin, ran the Fat Duck in Bray. And also, to top that, if we can top that, we've got the world-renowned 3 Michelin star chef, probably one of the best chefs in the world right now. Bjorn Frantzen will be flying in from Sweden to cook for us at the house in a minute. And we're also joined by one of the country's most exciting young chefs, all the way sat next to me over here from the Black Swan in Alstead. It's the brilliant Mr. Tommy Banks. You're nervous like I am, aren't you?
No pressure on us today,
exactly.
then, yeah?
No pressure on us as well. What are you going to be cooking for us? Because all your food is amazing. What are you going to be doing?
Yeah, I'm going to cook a mallard. So,
right.
Lovely wild duck from just up the road from us in North Yorkshire.
Yeah.
I'm making a faggot as well from the legs and the offal.
Yeah.
And, yeah, just a really nice, wintry, homely dish.
Sounds pretty good. And life must be busy for you, isn't it? As it hits December, it's getting... Yeah, it's phenomenally busy for you.
Yeah, really, really busy. This year, actually, we're closing the restaurants for the first time ever over Christmas, so having a week off. But our other company, Made also gets really busy over that time, so I'll probably end up working.
Well, we'll talk to you a little bit later on in the show as well. And if I thought I'd kick things off today with a fantastic dish, a fondue. It's banging season already right now. I mean, this is... I don't do skiing, but this is as good as it's going to get. But a cheese fondue with this different selection of vegetables. But we're going to talk about this amazing charcuterie that I've got in here. But first of all, I want to talk about the fondue. The fondue is really, really simple, really. It starts off with Riesling wine, is the classic, as you know. I've got 2 different types of cheese here. I've got a little bit of Emmental, you can use Gruyere. I've got a little bit of cheddar. I've got some Riesling over here, some creme fraiche, and some corn flour. That's the base of it, really. And what we want to do, really, is start off with the Riesling in here. So you start off warming up this wine, and then we can add more, a little bit more if we need to. And then we're going to pop in our cheese in here as well, and then start to add our Emmental to go with it. But I'm going to serve this with some of this amazing charcuterie. And now, before we chat to this chap, Dave, that's involved in the charcuterie, it's a thing that you've gotten into as well. It's another string to your bow. This is what you want to get into as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it. I think the amazing thing is just how much you can get from a pig. I mean, everyone says you can eat nose to tail on a pig, but with charcuterie, it's just so special. You're having a few little slices, and it really goes a long way, and it adds so much to a dish. Like, you know, this is going to be absolutely fantastic. It's going to be the best brunch ever.
Well, we're going to talk about food from all around the world on the show, with Bjorn coming on as well. And there's ingredients, amazing ingredients from all around the world. But we started off this in the middle of sort of lockdown, really, and started off showing you and introducing to all these amazing suppliers all around the country. We've been all the way from Shetland right the way down to Jersey and Guernsey and all the way down, all over the place. But this probably, if I wasn't mic'd, I could shout and I could probably hear Dave Watts from Parsonage Farm, who's in Upton in sort of Andover, which is just a stone's throw, a big stone's throw, this direction. He's there on the line now. So welcome to the show, Dave. Tell us how it all started for you then, because it started with you with a blue and white apron in the kitchen as a chef.
That's right. And still am in with a blue and white apron as a chef. So for me, it was about the produce that was available locally, and always has been, really. And Parsonage Farm is in the village of Upton, which is where my pub is equally. And Sarah and John, lovely couple that used to own and run Parsonage Farm, basically we're kind of looking at retiring. And, you know, it was one of those things. I said, oh, that'd be a shame. Nobody wanted it. Your kids don't want it or anything like that. And they kind of said no. And I said, well, have you thought about selling it as a business? So not the farm itself, such as the premises, but just the charcuterie business. And so we had a chat, we put an offer in, and yeah, then basically I bought the business, bought all the recipes and everything to go with it.
So we've got a selection over here. I know that Tommy's got his eye on stuff like that. Which do you want to try first? You want to?
Ooh, something with lots of fat on it, or one of these salamis.
Will you taste some of these salamis? So explain the process of of making one of these? Because people just see it in the supermarket. What makes yours different? Because you're doing it the proper Italian way. What is that?
Yeah, so basically we once we've sourced our pig, for example, on this one, we basically then seam butcher the whole pig itself. By seam butchery, we take out all the chewy bits, all the sinews, anything that is going to deter from just pure meat, basically. For me, it's the thing that stands out is the quality of the raw ingredient to start with. So once we've done that, then we mince it, and then we pipe it into sausages, basically. Same again by hand through a hand-fed turned piping machine, and then hang it in a fermenting fridge. We ferment it for 3 days at specific temperatures and times, and then when it's fermented, we take it out after 3 days and then just leave it to air dry, and that's it. It's so simple it sounds, but it's not simple.
Well, it is. I know it's not simple. I know you're venturing into it as well.
It's a science, isn't it? But I think
it's
interesting what you said there, because I think a lot of people don't realise that a salami is a fermented product. And I think people almost think, wow, fermented meat sounds a bit not that nice, but it really is, because I think through that process you just get that huge umami, rich flavour, which I think we just all love, don't we?
That's the thing about it, isn't it, really? So I've just got in here, this is a little bit of the cheese fondue sort of sauce that I'm going to get on here. So this is the reason it's got in there with the 2 different types of cheese. I've just put in some creme fraiche, a couple of tablespoons of creme fraiche. Then we take our corn flour, and then this is where you whisk it all up to thicken it all up. And that's really our fondue done. I've taken some amazing selection of this together with some potatoes. I've wrapped it in this. So tell me what this is. If you can see this, what is this that I've just wrapped in for people at home?
That's a treacle cured streaky bacon. So kind of same kind of process. So we take the actual bellies off. What we like, because they're Gloucester Old Spots, from that particular batch, they got a great amount of fat in it. And, for me, fat is flavour, and so you want to keep that. So we do a cure. We cure it for 10 days, and then we just gently rinse off that cure just to get rid of the residual salt from the outside of it. And then same process, really. We basically hang it for 3 days just to dry out, just in our fermenting curing room. And then it's ready to go, basically.
And you're buying your pigs as well. I mean, you've got the fortunate thing you've got pigs at the back of your house, haven't you, really? Yeah. But where are you getting the produce from? It's not just the farm, the parsonage farm. You're getting produce from particular suppliers all over the county. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the main one we use, got a little small holding just up from us. It's 4 miles from us, called Oak Track. Lovely lady called Tina's had it for about 20 odd years, I think. Just the same, it's just on the north side of Andover, and she's got amazing pigs and, Oxford Sandy and Blacks.
That's what we have, Oxford Sandy and Blacks, yeah.
That's what you got. So you're starting off as a good...
Well, this was going to be my question, because you said Old Spot there. Because it's an interesting one, because we've just got into pig farming the last year or so, and every breed you Google, the official page of that breed says that it's the best flavour, the most amazing pig. And, I was wondering, which is... So you said you use Old Spot for the bacon there.
The Old Spot's the bacon, yeah.
Yeah. But then something like this... Loma, you've got the copper and the Loma.
So you've got so there's a couple of Lomos there. So
that's got incredible fat.
Yes, that one's off a middle white.
I'll be honest with you, that's probably one of my favourite breeds. I think the middle white, classic middle white, is one of my favourites. I was a pig farmer for 20 odd years, but the middle white, to me, that's the one I choose. But like you said, different people have different perceptions of which is best.
I mean, I love the Gloucester Old Spot for the fat content. Yeah. And the thing with the Gloucester Old Spot, a lot of people you have to be careful with, because it's so fatty. People don't like it so much. So, and equally, it depends what you want to do with it. So you can't make a lot of salamis because your fat to meat ratio is too high. And so you end up with too much fat. So things like the Oxford Sandy and Black are great because they're so slow growing and they're delicious, but they've got just the right amount of fat that isn't going to damage the yield of what you're producing, if that makes sense.
Well, all I'm going to say, if some random chef comes past in the next sort of hour and a half on his way back to Yorkshire, disappears off the A34, just befriend him and give him a few recipes, will you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Smells incredible.
It does. Well, thank you very much with everything, and hopefully I've done it justice, really. I've done like a well, I've got like an assorted mixture of all your produce, really, raw and cooked and everything else. And I thought the great thing about this, you can just dunk it all in. The sauce, you just allow it to boil up. So this is your sort of cheese sauce with the Riesling, and you can put a little bit of mustard in there if you wanted to. But I think what you want to do is just take this and then you just pour this into our pot. So you can take the whole thing and whack it into our pot like that. Look at that.
Wow.
Look at that. Now, well, let's not talk about calories because it's just a wasted conversation with this. It's Christmas, but and mind you, it's Christmas every day of the week at this house, to be honest with you. I won't worry about it. But just to get, we have this thing called the money shot on this show, and this is the money shot. We're going to take the bacon like that and the potato, and take this and dunk it in. Oh dear. Oh dear. Dave, happy Christmas, mate. I'll see you soon.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, buddy. Take care. Well, I know what piece you've got your eye on, so I'll pass you the entire board, and then you can help yourself. I'll put it on here. There you go.
Wow.
So it'll balance.
This is Christmas, isn't it? That's the piece I've had my eye on.
I thought that.
Look at that.
Yeah, you're gonna go dunk. Are you gonna dunk?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a little bit of this, and then a little bit of the ham, but. I mean, cheese fondue as well. It's got to be Christmas, hasn't it, really?
The smell of this is just incredible. The smell of the cheese, smell of the charcuterie.
Yeah. There's a little candle on there just to keep it warm. It's warm.
I wasn't meant to eat so much.
Two Yorkshire lads having a moment.
I know we've got some top chefs on today, but
You're going to do a lot to beat that. That's what you're going to have to be on your A game, these boys, today. Trust me. But that is amazing. What are you cooking for us later?
Mallard, but I might just go home.
Well, before you go on, we've actually got chefs Bjorn Frantzen and Jonny Lake, the former head chef of the 3-star Fat Duck, joining us as well. But see you after the break when I'll be in the Shetlands to meet a hardy bunch of vegetable growers. I'll see you in a minute. That you've got to try this Christmas. Welcome back. Now, the world-famous chef Bjorn Frantzen will be making his Saturday morning debut a little bit later, and I'll be laying on lunch for Strictly Come Dancing's Anton Du Beke very shortly. Right, it's time to take a look back at one of my favourite food adventures. This week, my travels are taking me to Shetland, where I'm swapping my Mini for a classic Ford Capri. Do you remember Ford Capris? Or are you too young?
No idea.
I'm too old. I'm too old for this. Anyway, it's a 2.8 injection in blue. Proper car. You didn't want the 1.6 laser, you need the 2.8. Anyway, moving on. We're using it to meet an incredible group of veg growers. Enjoy this one. And meanwhile, I'm diving into some more. Yeah, you've left me a little bit. Welcome back to spectacular Shetland, the most northerly place in the UK, where nowhere is far from the sea. Earlier, I explored Lerwick Harbour and cooked up a lobster omelette. And there you have it, Shetland lobster omelette. So I'm heading now to Turrifield Community Garden, which is a project like little allotments where a group of people are producing some veg in this quite harsh climate, really. So I'm interested to see what they can grow there and hopefully grab some to cook with. Penny Armstrong set up Transition Turrifield as a social enterprise with her partner, Alan. How on earth did this all start?
Oh, well, we decided we wanted to move back to Shetland. Alan's from Shetland, and we moved to here in 2008 and realised that there was no fresh veg. Everything was being shipped into the supermarkets, and the people prefer to buy it from the supermarkets.
But, I mean, it must have its challenges being here. I mean...
It's a late start. The weather is really windy. We don't get as much sun as you do down south. Obviously, the temperatures don't reach that level. And then the days get really dark in the winter, so we are limited.
And what do you grow in these, the polytunnels?
Things like courgettes and pumpkins and sweet corn, fennel, French beans, because we can't grow beans outside here. It's too windy. The whole thing is a bit of an experiment just to see what you can grow in Shetland.
But your composting's all natural and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, we make a lot of our own compost, obviously, with the stuff that we have. We use old silage from the crofts around the place as well, but we use horse manure and we use seaweed, which is all local resources.
And you're using a lot of the resources in terms of volunteers?
Volunteers, yeah, our volunteer team is the best ever. We couldn't run this without the amount of people that we have. So not only do we want to be local, but we want to be as fossil fuel free as possible. And our volunteers, some of them are our customers. They come and give us a few hours every season. And some of them, like these ones over here, are our hardcore volunteers who come just for the sheer joy of wheelbarrowing things
And I see you've got a little veg box, honesty box at the end here.
Yes,
but
that's...
most of the stuff you produce is in a little box scheme.
We run a box scheme and we also deliver to hotels and restaurants and local rural shops as well.
And it's really kicked off since you've been doing it.
In the 10 years that we've been doing it, it's gone from doing, I think, 5 veg boxes. We now do 30 veg boxes. The same again goes to the shops and their hotels. And we've got a 5-year waiting list.
It shows you the demand of it, doesn't it?
Yeah, a lot of people do wait for the 5 years. It's crazy. But we need to get more people growing their own veg in Shetland. And if we can do that through the use of our carbon classroom, where we run training courses for people to learn how to start growing in Shetland, then we can be more sustainable as a local community.
So it started off as like a Scottish government grant.
The Climate Challenge Fund is a grant that's administered through Keep Scotland Beautiful, and it's about doing things to reduce the amount of carbon emissions that Scotland are producing.
Why all the tyres? Because there's thousands of them.
Tyres are about, I suppose, recycling and reusing. They act as windbreaks. We use them for compost piles. We use them for holding the doors of the polytunnel open, things like that. They've just got a multitude of
Holding
uses.
stuff down in the winter.
Holding stuff down in the winter, definitely.
Well,
yes.
congratulations, everything. It's a lesson for everybody, I think, isn't it?
Yes.
I do have a fascination with growing my own produce, but what is amazing about coming here, I left home literally a couple of weeks ago, and my tomato plants are here. The tomatoes are literally like this. Here, even in the polytunnels, they're only a foot high. But I've spotted one thing that really does go well here, as well as the onions. These are amazing. Great salads as well. The great thing about these, you just cut and they grow again. That's the great thing about these. If you've ever got your own little plot, little allotment, it doesn't have to be something as fancy as this, but it's amazing what you can grow just in there. But then I've spotted some of these, and this is the weird thing. My cauliflower at home are useless. Here, they're amazing. Look at this one. So what we'll do, we'll just trim this off. Look at that. My gran used to call these a heart of gold. And cooked properly, they taste amazing. I mean, just look how beautiful this place is. That's Ronas Hill over there, the highest point in Shetland. And the thing about living on an island like this, it's all about improvisation. Just look at my table. It's pretty cool, isn't it? What we're going to do with this is going to turn this amazing veg. Look at this beautiful cauliflower that I've just picked, and together with all these wonderful herbs, I'm going to do a veg curry with this. Keep it really simple, but the point about a veg curry is the onions to start off. So I'm just going to take some onions. Now, there's 2 reasons why I'm doing a curry, one of which is that I'm going to use this amazing veg. The other one, that it's cold-ish. So veg oil in a hot pan, and this is a hot pan, really hot pan. The onions straight in there. Now, while they're happening, we can turn our attention to our garlic. This beautiful fresh garlic. Look at that. It's just literally from there. Fresh garlic like this tastes absolutely delicious. Look at that. And we can just open this all up. If you've never grown garlic, literally have a go at growing it. And that's the great thing about this. It's amazing that it grows all the way up here. Right, so in we go with the garlic. It's going to go in the pan as well. While that's happening, we can take our tomatoes. I'm going to use a combination of tinned tomatoes and fresh tomatoes. So the tomatoes go in the pan, together with some ginger paste. Pop that in. And then I'm going to add my fresh tomatoes with this as well. The whole point about this curry is actually making the sauce first. So we're just going to add a touch of water to this. And then I've got 2 leaves. Bay leaves, and the reason why I've wrapped it like this, they'll literally probably end up on that hill over there if I don't. And then I've got some curry leaves. Only wanted a few. They're going to go in. While that's cooking, we make our yoghurt marinade. A little bit of yoghurt. And then I take the spices. This will be fun. Chili powder. In there. A little bit of ground cumin. A little bit of garam masala. And then mix this before it ends up in Norway. So, mix it all together. I've got some gorgeous rosemary here, which is grown here as well. Some beautiful sprigs of rosemary. I've got some nice marjoram. Marjoram's a wonderful, wonderful herb. And then we turn our attention to our cauliflower. And for this, you want sort of chunks of cauliflower, like that. Is that sunshine? It is, isn't it? Wait a minute. Gone. That's summer. Right. Take your nice little bits of cauliflower, and what you can do with this is cut this up quite chunky, mainly because the minute you put it on the barbecue, it's just going to fall through the griddle plates. And then mix this all together. It's a beautiful thing, veg, when it's simply done. Our sauce is ready, and you can finish it with a little bit of chilli, if you want. Red chilies and green chilies. That's going to go in. Touch of cream. And then what I love in curries, a little knob of butter. 1, 2, 3. Salt and pepper. And season it as well. Black pepper. And salt. And then what I'm going to do is just leave that to one side. And then we're going to take our cauliflower and then use one of these. And take the whole lot. And just pop it on our griddle like that. So this is all the yogurt, all the herbs, everything. Spring onions on here as well. Shut this up and cook this over the coals. And then what we do, when your cauliflower's ready, which that is, we can then put our pan back on. Take this out. So you put all your cauliflower back into your pan. Because this is only just coloured. We'll take all this, but don't forget the yoghurt and the spices, because that is what adds to the curry as well. All in there. And then we're going to cook this now for about 3 or 4 minutes. So just to finish this off now, what I'm going to do is take some coriander. That goes in here. This is what I love about doing stuff like this. It's all about real food. I do love it. You can get your pan, how you fight her, that's hot. And then some almonds. Sprinkle almonds. People think there'd be a wind machine behind you, wouldn't there? And there you have it, my veg curry. Now I know what you're thinking. The hat clashes with the jumper. It's the only thing they had in the shop. It looks good to me. Let's see what the hard-working volunteers think.
Oh, that smells good.
Definitely done it justice.
Take my spoon back.
Good, yeah.
You see, you need to get one 2.8. That got me so excited when I got the opportunity to try one of them. It's a proper thing.
I have no idea what it is.
He's no idea. It's gone straight on the top of his head. You didn't want the 1.6 like I said, it's 2.8. Anyway, Tommy will be cooking for us a little bit later. You cooking, my lad?
I am, yeah.
I'm looking for... He's going to have to up his game because you're even nervous about the 2 chefs that are coming on the show as well.
I was nervous about the 2 chefs coming on the show, and now I've had this amazing fondue, and...
Everybody's now up in their game because we've got Bjorn Frantzen, one of the greatest chefs in the world, coming on the show. Also, Jonny Lake from The Fat Duck, held 3 Michelin stars for good knows how long as well. It's going to be a great day today. But I'll see you back here in a couple of minutes. We're going to be back in the kitchen with Strictly Come Dancing legend, Mr. Anton Du Beke. I'll see you then. Welcome back. Now, coming up, we've got a masterclass in red cabbage, and chefs Tommy Banks, Bjorn Frantzen will be in the kitchen. That's coming up later. But first, I'm here with the star of Saturday Night TV. He wrote that bit. Who could dance. He wrote this next bit as well. Who could dance, sing, write, and he's a bit dab hand in the kitchen, apparently. It's Mr. Anton Du Beke. Great to have you back at the house, Chief.
Oh,
Good to have you back. You always bring a smile to this house.
Well, it's lovely of you to have me back. I love coming here, and this is still...
Well, we don't invite you, but you just keep coming back every time you've got a book out.
Yeah. No, I wander along and I bang on the door and hope no one's turned up. And I'm here.
Yeah, you're here. You're here.
Get rid of me if you say.
I mentioned that at the top of it. You're a bit of everything at the moment, writer and actor and stuff like that. But
Actor. Not quite yet, but there's a good thought.
Yeah, but one of the things that you are good at is baking. So I thought I'd do you this sort of... it's very Christmassy. This
Lovely.
sort of Danish swirl sort of bake, really. We can start off with an enriched yeast dough, which we've got flour, we've got sugar, we've got yeast, we've got water. I'm going to mix all this lot together to get a dough. So I've got to mention baking first of all, because that's more or less where it all started for you, right?
Well, I was, yes, when I was 16, 17, I started as a baker. As a trainee baker. You know what it's like when you work in these in bakeries. You're basically there to clear up after everybody else. So you're there washing out. I mean, if you can imagine that mixer being about this size, I'd be cleaning out the mixers for the bakers. Start work about 7 o'clock in the morning, and the better you get and the more skilled, and become a semi-skilled baker.
Yeah.
And then you start work at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And then you become a skilled baker after a number of years.
Yeah.
And then you start making everything, and you start work at 3 o'clock in the morning.
And you didn't get to that bit. You then decided that's enough for me. And how was it this sort of Billy Elliot moment for you? How do you get into what you got into, particularly because what you got into? Did you get into ballroom first?
Yes, I started off as a ballroom dancer.
But how was that? Well, that must have been, at home and stuff like that. What was the conversation like?
My sister went along. It was a summer holidays, school. So I was about 13 or 14, and it was school summer holidays, and you've got weeks and weeks off. And my sister was, she was going off to a dance class on a Wednesday afternoon, and I just wandered along, really, and that's how it began.
So it was the girls that got you to there.
But it was a room full of girls. I won't deny it was a room full of girls, and but I liked the competitive side of it all, and you take your medals, and that I felt there was a goal to it, and so that was the thing that I loved.
But what was the goal? Was the goal to you to be brilliant at that? Because I get the feeling I do get the feeling you're quite competitive.
Well, yeah. I mean, when I was competing, I was an absolute lunatic. I was sort of competitive to the point where it's got a bit destructive, rather than
because of the sports side of it.
Yeah, and the determination, always feeling like I was catching up as well. Like I was, everybody else seemed to be ahead of the game, and I was always, because I started late. The one thing I had was drive and determination. They couldn't take that away from me.
You still got that?
Well, I do, really, because I just want to be... I want everything I do to be good. I hate the feeling of shortchanging anybody. You want to go, right, OK, well, if I'm going to do this, this is going to be great. This is going to be the best I can do, and I'm going to work at this skill.
Well, you mentioned that. We've made our dough here. What you want to do with this dough is keep it mixing for a good 10, 15 minutes. Just keep it ticking away. I've got the ice and sugar here, which is going to make our glaze. And then what you want to do is, once you've made this dough, then let it prove, first of all. First proof.
First proof.
First proof.
Yes.
So first proof is this one. You put it in a bowl, let it first prove, and then you knock it back. So this
that means you battle the air out.
This is the first proof. And
I'm here to help.
You do that? Do you smell that?
Yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah.
See, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. So that's the first bit, and then we go basically just going to pin this all out into a little sort of oblong, and then make this sort of happen. Now, I mentioned the fact that you're competitive, but also jack of all trades. Now, tell us.
Variety is the spice of life. I've always felt that.
First of all, tell us about what you're doing at the moment on stage, because you do a lot of this.
Well, this new show I've got coming out, it's coming out in the spring. I mean, I'm in Panto at the moment. So,
what are you playing?
I'm playing Jack at Jack and Reese down in Bromley, in Kent, and and I'm loving it. I did it for the first time last year, and I love it. But I've got a show coming out next April into May, and it's an evening with Anton Du Beke. I did some shows earlier this year. The evening with I did a few shows just to sort of try it out. And I've always wanted to do I love Q&As, so I love this.
You love talking about yourself.
I love having a chat.
You just love talking about yourself. That's right. You can call it Q&As all you want. It's just you talking about yourself. That's what it is, isn't it?
If I happen to be the subject of conversation, I can't deny. But what I did was I had a telephone on, a telephone. Jesus.
A telephone, yeah.
I had a mobile phone on stage with me, and my number was in the foyer. And what I want the audience to do is text me during the show. So I go.
Even if they don't want to.
Well, no, listen, you can't stop them. You're just like trying to stop me talking. And then I grab the phone. Right, let's have a look at what we've got. And I can't tell you the fun we have with it. And as I say, I love the Q&A sort of thing, but rather than the roving mic thing, because people don't really want to put up their hand often, but they're happy to send a text, and it can be quite rude. And, you know, one beauty last year was, Anton, can you tell me, what's it like to be the mature lady's heartthrob? And which I thought was lovely. I thought it was marvellous. I said, I learned everything I know from James Martin.
Get out of it. Right, can we move this story away? Because this it's not just all about him, it's about this as well. Look, we've got in here this dough. We take this mixture. This is a bit of cream cheese, full-fat cream cheese that we spread over the top. We've got some spices over here. I've got cinnamon and nutmeg. That goes in here. A little bit of orange zest. And we spread this all over the dough like that, so nice and roughly even, which we've got in there. Roughly even. And then I'm going to take some pecan nuts, sprinkle those on as well.
You can do it full nuts. You're not going to crush them.
Yeah, no, you can crush them if you want. So just
nice.
A few of those pecan nuts over the top.
Nice.
Take a little bit of this amazing...
I saw you chopping those up earlier.
Candied orange.
Yeah.
There you go. Bit of that. That splits over the top, over there. And then we'll quickly just tuck it in like that and roll it up. And then when you cut it, you get these swirls.
Look at that.
And then we pop that into a little dish. That's gonna prove nicely. But I've got to say, I'm going to clean my hands because we're going to get onto the book. So
OK.
This is, you know, you've sent me a copy, and I know what you like. You know, if I'd ruined this copy, I've got to buy the other one. so I'll clean my hands to this one. So last time you hear, because this is a big passion of yours, isn't it?
I do love doing it, I have to say.
So this follows a storyline. It's based in a London hotel. The same characters.
The Buckingham Hotel, a lot of the same characters. This is the fifth one in the series, and this is set during the Blitz. And it's a story of the upstairs and the downstairs of the hotel, and the upstairs and the downstairs of the characters. And
sorry, I'm just ruining your shot. I've just noticed there. If I just move that, you just look. If you look in the camera there, you've just got that nice little shot of you. There, look at that. That's a nice effect. Do you see that?
Lovely.
It's like you're having a steam bath before Strictly. Look at that.
Oh, it won't do us any harm, dear.
Exactly.
I can tell you. Oh, look at that. Oh, look, I'm walking out of a sauna fully dressed.
Just nice. Right, back to me for a minute.
Back
to me for a minute, please. The director, me, right here.
Whose show is this? This is yours.
This is the one that I've just done. You just chop it all up. You allow it to prove again. Secondary proof.
Secondary proof.
Secondary proof. This then goes in the oven about 150, 160. You don't want to cook it too hot. It needs about an hour in the oven. So middle shelf, fan oven, straight in the oven like that. It comes out, and then we're going to glaze it with this sort of sticky glaze. It comes out looking something like this. Looks like Anton before he goes in for a spray tan. But then we're just going to glaze it all up so he shines.
Have a shine.
Shines ready for the stage.
Let's put on the personality, dear.
So tell us a little bit more about the book then, because I know it is a huge passion of yours, and a bit like I said to you about the dancing, it's a massive amount of work for you as well.
Well, it is, but I love it, so it doesn't feel like it, and I'm able to do it in a way that it works for me. My publisher has been great, and we work wonderfully together, and I'm able to narrate the story. So for me, I do it in pictures, and I see the whole thing as I narrate it. Yeah, and I have somebody tapping away from me, going like that, and looking over the shoulder and going, I'm not sure that makes any sense. So I'm happy for my editor to go, oh, no, we can't do that. And I go, oh, really? Why is that? Because you're rewriting history. The Queen can't go into the Buckingham Hotel and have tea. The Buckingham Hotel doesn't exist. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that slight detail. Okay. Right. So, and then I'm off, and then I can go off and do something. And if she goes to me, that's great. I love the idea of that. I go, brilliant. And then I can carry on with that.
Well, people are loving what you're doing at the moment. But look, we're just going to take this, and I'm going to pipe this just backwards and forwards over the top of here. The buns have been baked, and they've just been glazed like that. And you take this little bit of glaze, and you let that over the top of there, like this. But we're just going to glaze this over the top. Do you know what? It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. You're going to stick around the rest of the day as well. We're going to chat to you a little bit more later. But, ladies and gentlemen, Anton Du Beke, everybody.
Thank you.
And a pair of buns. Done. go for a cut. We'll slice this through.
That sound. Slightly hollow. Brilliant.
Look at that. Check that out.
Check them.
Yeah. And then we just take you a little bit of this.
A little bit. I love you. Your portion sizes are always fabulously interesting. I mean, I'd hate it if you gave me a large piece.
Okay. But type in fingers.
I'm going in fingers.
Fingers.
Don't judge me. Here we go.
Fingers.
It's so nice. Oh. It's amazing.
I know that.
Beautiful.
Right, I'll be treating Anton to a chicken Kiev a little bit later on the show. And we've got an unmissable masterclass in cabbage coming your way. I've got a mouthful of... Look at this. But join us again after the break when Yorkshire's finest, Mr. Tommy Banks, will be working his magic outside in the kitchen. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now I'll be serving up red cabbage 2 ways in this week's little masterclass, and I'll be chatting some more to Strictly Come Dancing's Anton Du Beke a little bit later. But first, I'm here with a chef who's from God's own country, of course, and his restaurants have taken the Yorkshire food scene to another level. It's Mr. Tommy Banks. Yay! I feel like the northern version of Anton Dek, or rather, the Yorkshire version of Anton Dek.
I was going to say.
Exactly, yeah.
They'd probably call us the southern version.
Yeah, exactly. So what are we going to be doing then?
So I've got beautiful mallard,
Yes.
so bang in season at the moment. So we're going to roast that on the.
You want me to get that on as well? I know you want to get that on, but you want to season it. What are you going to season it with?
So that's just salt, which I've blended down with some pine needles.
Right.
So it's just quite a nice, nice sort of citrusy flavour.
So I'll concentrate on that. So what are we going to serve it with then?
So we've made a faggot
Yep.
from the mallard legs, hearts and livers, and also some lardo that I made. So back in March. So it's first time I've ever made lardo. So
And did it work?
yeah, it's absolutely delicious. So it's the easiest charcuterie you can make.
Now there's your little mallard, which I'll just leave to one side there.
Yeah,
just keep that nice and warm. Now you're self-taught as well. That's the amazing thing about yourself, really.
Yeah, I do prefer the term made up as went along.
Right. But how do you go to... I mean, what got you involved in food in the first place, and what got you involved in particularly doing restaurants?
So Mum and Dad ran a farmhouse bed and breakfast when I was a kid.
Right.
So I guess we had a bit of a hospitality background. That's lovely, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
A bit of a hospitality background, but they decided to buy the local pub.
Right.
When I was 17 and my brother was 19, and put us in charge, which was a crazy decision, really.
Yeah.
And we started running a local pub, and I'll be honest, the first few years it wasn't that great. But because we're in the middle of nowhere, you kind of have to do something that's going to drag people out, that's going to make people want to travel.
Yeah.
So I guess we didn't really have a plan other than we just wanted to make it as good as we could make it.
Yeah.
And over the years, it kind of developed from a pub doing really nice food, and we started doing tasting menus, won a Michelin star, and kind of just one thing led to another, but we're still really in our local pub.
But you kind of imagined it, being self-taught, to going for the Michelin star.
Well,
kind of been on your radar.
I didn't know what they were, to be honest.
You want this straight in here?
Yes, yeah. So I put a little bit of duck fat in there, and this is a nice recipe. I guess it's quite festive. It's on the same sort of vibes as your red cabbage, but I'm using chicory instead. Right. And then I've got some sugars and vinegars and nice things to go over that as well.
Sounds pretty good. Right, what have you got in here then, sir?
So,
I'm keeping my eye on everything. Go on, you all right?
Yeah, potato starch. So I'm going to make these lovely crackers. So these are brown linseeds. Make a lovely little cracker. Obviously, it's gluten-free as well.
They look like you can almost see through them.
Yeah, so they're like suspended. So I do these a lot in the restaurant. A lot of people have been to Roots that have had these crackers. We can do them with hazelnuts in them, or sunflowers, pumpkin seeds, and basically you just take boiling water and potato starch and make almost like a paste, like a
hot water paste.
Yeah. And then you can take anything. So I've used linseeds, but you could take, you could use some nuts and seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, all these lovely things. Whatever you like. It makes the most fantastic crackers for cheese or something like that.
Right.
And then just in with the linseeds, and you see it thickens up a little bit. Just keep adding seeds until you don't want too many, because you want to be able to achieve, like you said there, that sort of suspension, so you've got gaps in between. Now that's literally all I do with that. Then is spread that out, one seed thick over either baking parchment or preferably like a silicone baking mat.
Yeah.
And then in the oven, 150 degrees for about 10 minutes, and they just curl up and dry, and you get that, which is
so easy to make as well. That's the thing.
It's super tasty, really easy to make, and like I say, you can then put anything in that, and it works. It's a gluten-free cracker. It's good.
Right, I'm going to speed this up in the pizza oven. That's all
Thank you very much.
So I'll do that, and then you can explain what we've got in here in terms of.
Yeah, so I'm just going to add a couple more ingredients to
cabbage.
To the cabbage.
The chicory.
To the chicory, yeah.
I'll bring that.
So we've got fortified wine in there, like a port.
Right.
That's a bit of cider vinegar, a little bit of red wine vinegar, and this is some fermented gooseberry juice, which is something I use quite a lot.
You do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, okay.
Well, it tastes like lemon juice almost. So we don't grow a lot of lemons in North Yorkshire, unfortunately. We have tried. But so we use fermented gooseberry juice quite a lot in the restaurant. So you think like a lot of restaurants you go into, they'd have a section on the fish section, you'd have a little bottle of lemon juice maybe, and maybe some Beurre Noisette, and you would dress the fish as it comes out.
Yeah.
Do exactly the same, but just a little lick of the gooseberry juice. I use it in sauces. It's really good because it doesn't... Lemon just has a citrus flavour, whereas this has the acidity, but then a saltiness and umaminess. It almost does kind of the job of soy sauce and lemon juice at the same time.
How do you... I mean, we're talking about... We've got chefs on the show, we've got multiple restaurants as well. I mean, you've got 2 one-star restaurants.
Yeah.
How do you cope with that? How do you find... Because I'm asking you, but then I'm going to ask the same question to Bjorn as well.
And I can't wait to hear the answer that he says later, because he's got 2 3-Michelin-star restaurants.
Yeah, but how do you manage it?
Amazing team. I think the thing I've been very lucky is I've got 2 brilliant head chefs, Will Lockwood and Callum Leslie, who are the 2 head chefs of each restaurant. And they drive the restaurants forward. You know, I've worked with them both for a lot of years. And we have 2 restaurants 20 miles apart, but how you do it in Sweden and Singapore...
We're about to find out anyway.
Yeah.
So you've got the little bit of chicory, a little bit of raw chicory.
Yeah, I just wanted to have some freshness for the dish. We've got lovely mallard jus there.
Right.
I've got some pickled elderberries for earlier in the year.
We've got a couple of plates here.
Yeah, so
I'll let you do the mallard first.
carve this duck first, and then we'll dress the plates. Let's grab a
There you
little
go.
knife.
So with you cooking it slow like this, people are going to see it's perfectly cooked. It's still pink, but perfectly cooked all the way through.
Yes. Yeah, that's the idea. So it's a great technique to do with if you're going to do a whole roast duck crown as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, don't do it with the legs because the legs cook very, very differently.
Yeah.
But yes, you could definitely and a lot of chefs do this in restaurants, so you can have that control in service. So you maybe cook all the ducks to a certain point and then finish them.
So explain to us what we've got in this sauce then. What are you...
So that's a mallard jus using sort of the legs and the carcasses like that. We'll take them on and roast them further. Finished it with some elderberries. So it's just like a really traditional sticky game sauce. So I'll get the duck on the plate. And we've got a faggot as well. So it's using the whole animal. So we've got the legs, which are boned out, and the hearts and livers as well.
Yeah.
But, it's not a really gamey faggot there. There's a lot of pork in there as well. I think that's nice. And then...
This is your trademarky beetroot.
With the garnish, so you can see how wizened up they are. Actually, I think putting it in the pizza oven will have done it a lot of favours, actually. Really smoky in there.
Yeah.
It'd be a really nice way to do them. So I'm quite excited about that. Drain the fat off them.
There you go. I'm intrigued to see what these taste like, actually.
Yeah, so the very meaty, the smokiness you get, and then, this is looking great. So that chicory is all sort of cooked down, very much like your red cabbage, but of course, with it being chicory, it does have that sort of bitterness to it as well, which it works well when you've got very sweet things in there.
I actually like cooked chicory as well. I mean, great with fish.
Yeah.
Even, white chicory as well. You can cook it with sugar and orange and stuff like that. It's great with
braise it with
shellfish,
fish stock and stuff. Yeah.
Great with shellfish. Lovely.
Quite an underused ingredient, really. How nice it is. Do you know what it would have been lovely? Leaves of it in that fondue.
Yeah, that's
like they'd be like little boats, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So yeah,
but it's that little bitterness to it as well. Really nice.
So that's a lovely. And then I'm just going to decorate with a few just fresh leaves as well, just to break up the. So we've got the cooked chicory and the raw, and a few little linseed crackers as well. just for a
I've
bit
got to
of...
say, those linseed crackers, it's amazing how easy they are to make.
Yeah, it's a great little technique, and you think you can use them as chips and dips, or make them and use them on a cheese board.
Like you say, cheese board's going to work really well together.
And I think like the more seeds you put into it, the more sort of interesting it becomes.
Did you toast the linseed beforehand or not?
I didn't actually with the linseeds, no. Right. But I do with if I did it with hazelnuts, something like that, I'd roast them, or pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds.
You just make it look amazing as well, and the little sauce to go with it.
Yeah, and then this lovely little jus. Finished with pickled elderberries, so I'll put that over the really rich game sauce, and then just
he's up in a game now.
A little taste of North
Yorkshire. Because the company out here.
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit. So give us the name of this dish. It looks absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, so we've got mallard, which we cooked on the Conroe, served it with crapadine beetroot cooked slowly in duck fat, a little faggot of the offal, and some linseeds and chicory.
The genius that is Tommy Banks, everybody.
Yay!
There you go. Bon appetit. Right, dive into this. I'm going to try this beetroot first. I've got to say this. That beetroot's just great, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the pizza oven's a really good shout for it.
Wow, that beetroot tastes fantastic. Yeah, this is a proper plate of food. Textures, everything you want. That's just brilliant. Tommy Banks, everybody. Yeah. Brilliant. You're going to stick around?
Oh, absolutely.
You're sticking around throughout the day as well. And Chef Jonny Lake will be cooking for us a little bit later. And we've got a masterclass in red cabbage coming up very shortly. But don't worry, guys. After the break, the reason why he's sticking around, we've got the legendary Swedish chef Bjorn Frantzen. How good is this gentleman?
The best in the world, probably.
That's what he is. He'll be serving an amazing dish of veal that you don't want to miss. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now we're learning all about red cabbage in this week's Diddle Masterclass, and I'll be serving up some show-stopping chicken Kievs for Anton Du Beke a little bit later. But first, I'm honoured to be joined in the kitchen by a man who is, without doubt, one of the very best chefs in the world right now. He wrote that bit. No, he didn't really. He did really. He genuinely is. It's the amazing Bjorn Frantzen. Wonderful you have this. Tommy, you're plumbed in. You're not going anywhere. You're going to watch this.
I'm hungry.
So first of all, welcome to the UK.
Thank you so much. Great to be back.
You're about to get a lot busier as well. You're about to. You've got a restaurant now in Harrods.
Yes.
So we'll explain where and how and everything else. But first of all, tell us about the dish that you're going to be making.
Yeah, it's. I think this might be one of the classics.
Okay.
So we got a veal escalope that's just going to be roasted quickly.
Yeah.
And the concept of the dish, it's called ma la, which is Chinese for ma is numbing and la is spicy.
Okay.
Or it could be the other way around. Right. My Chinese is a bit rusty this early in the morning.
It's probably as good as mine, to be honest.
But you get the point. Exactly. It's going to be numbing and spicy.
Right, I'll just warming up the pan for you. So,
great.
So the restaurant itself, you're based in Stockholm.
Yes.
So the restaurant in Stockholm, 3 stars.
Yes.
How did it all start? Because you started off as a footballer.
Yeah, I did.
Professional footballer.
Yes.
Yeah. How do you go from a professional footballer to be a chef?
Well, you know, I got an injury, right. So but to be honest, the step from running a Michelin star restaurant and being in a professional kitchen is very close, because the closest I'd ever been in private life, 10 minutes before kick-off in the dressing room, with a lot of high expectations coming to you as a team, is running a Michelin star restaurant.
Oh, well, we're going to talk about that anyway. I know you want to get cooking with this one. So you got the nice little bit of veal escalope in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just briefly, quickly sear it off.
Yeah.
Are you stressed here?
No, I'm manning the I'm steering the ship. You've got the power. I'm just
Yeah. All right, that's good. No, so quickly stir it off to keep it like medium inside. I mean, obviously it's escalope, so it's very quickly.
Yeah.
And then we're just gonna leave it to rest here, and then we're gonna glaze it up with the la or the ma. We don't know. Not sure yet.
We're not sure which is which.
It's spicy. Yeah. So it's a compote pepper glaze, reduced together with chicken stock and a fermented mushroom tea. So very umami-driven and acidity.
And tell us about the restaurant in Stockholm then, first of all, because that's where it all started for you.
It did, almost 14 years ago now. So the restaurant in Stockholm, it's 23 seats, open 4 days a week.
Yeah.
Lunch and dinner, and that's it.
Yeah. And then you've opened a restaurant not just down the road, Singapore.
Yeah. Yeah.
How and that went on to get 3 stars.
Yeah,
he's struggling with 2 1 stars. How do you run 2 3 stars?
Mine are 20 miles apart as well.
Yeah, no, but we decided let's try to make a sister restaurant to Frantzen, which this restaurant called. So the one in Singapore is only called Zen, from Frantzen.
Yeah.
So we got 3 stars also.
That's amazing. So what is in this little glaze then? Tell us about this little glaze.
Glaze, the spicy compote pepper glaze, and it's originally in the base is a chicken stock.
Yeah.
That's fairly hard reduced down.
Yeah.
And then for acidity and umami, the 5th sort of flavor palette, we made a sort of like a tea from fermented mushrooms.
So what have we got? What have we got in here?
Yeah, what we got here is basically just a little bit of butter, together with water, and once again a little bit of sort of umami go here, sake that we just cooked off. So we're gonna reheat our mushrooms.
But this is the classically French. Looking at this emulsification, you're classically French trained as well.
I am. So I would say it's like my cooking style, I would say, is like a very weird twist of, obviously where I'm based. My region is the Nordic region. Yeah. And then together with the Asian side of it. But yeah, I'm very extremely classically French trained. So, it's a combo of all 3 of them. And depending on what dish it is, it could be more of the French or more of the Asian or more of the Nordic. I mean, who the hell use baby corn? But we are today. I like it. I think let's go.
You used to find it at weddings and...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, no one uses this, so let's go, And so you've got a little salad there to top this off with.
Yeah. Now, we've obviously talked about Singapore, we've talked about France. We're going to talk about the new site now. So Harrod, doing something pretty special. You're right on the top floor.
Yes, up to top floor in the old hair and beauty salon. So now we got in conversation with hers a couple of years ago, and they sort of wanted to do more of a evening restaurant, and then they came up with this beautiful space, and what I believe is the only rooftop terrace in this area. So what's really unique was that I really wanted to have an open fire to cook all the main songs.
I'm sure Harrods loved that when you came.
Yeah, especially the insurance company.
Exactly.
Highest listed building in the world.
Exactly.
Here comes the Swedish geezer.
Fire on it. Yeah, it's great.
With his Swedish birch wood. But yeah, we got it through, and it gives great flavour.
So now you have. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we got this little salad. Tell us about this little dressing.
So normally a normal dressing, like salad dressing, we call it citronette. But let's we changed the lemon which is in a citronette to the Asian citrus fruit yuzu.
This is the yuzu.
Yeah, so it's a yuzu net. Yeah. So we just dress it up nicely, and then here we go. All right.
So we've got a nice little dressing on here.
Yeah, so we just dressed our up, and I start sort of like...
So what have you got in this yuzu dressing then? What's the base? Obviously the base is yuzu.
We got yuzu. We got a touch of olive oil and salt. And so it's very simple, really. That's enough.
Lovely.
That's good. And then what we do now, obviously, I started with the veal in the bottom. That was with the Campot pepper glaze. And then on top of that, we have our baby corn. And
the not so trendy baby corn.
Exactly.
That is going to become trendy after this.
Yeah, exactly. And then we now moving into to get the mala going. We got the spice. Now we need the numbing spice.
Okay.
Which is then a homemade Sichuan pepper oil.
Okay. So to get the colour, how do you get the Szechuan peppers? You just slowly...
Slowly. And our trick in this one is actually, obviously, well, it's a little bit of Nordic in there as well. We're using a little bit of sea buckthorns.
Okay. Right.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah.
And this is on the menu right now.
It is on the menu right now, and I would say, this was maybe the first dish I created because it's, Harrods is open all day dining. Yeah. So, it's everything from people getting super dressed up in the evening for someone that's gone shopping and just wanted something nice, light lunch without too many carbs.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly. And you've got a few bits and pieces on here that you want to add to it.
Yeah, we do. But also, once again, let's put in the French element. So we just... To get a little bit of fat going on top of the dish, we're doing a little bit of ceps aioli.
I can see there's elements of this going up to Yorkshire. You see, I can see him just checking this out now. Look over here.
Yeah, a little bit of chives.
Yeah. So what's next for you then? You've got the Harrods. You've got what does next year bring you?
It brings me Shanghai.
Right.
It brings me
another local restaurant.
Yeah,
yeah, good.
Just go local. It brings me another restaurant in Singapore.
Right.
And it brings me 3 restaurants in Dubai.
What is the secret, do you think? What is the secret of... There's going to be young chefs watching this.
Yeah.
What is the secret of your success? What do you put it down to?
Well, it's the boring answer. Finish off with some spring leeks. That's not the boring answer, but that's why I did. There's no shortcuts. You got to be serious and professional in everything you do. I used to compare it to if you coming from sports world.
Yeah.
If you want to compete in Champions League or win Champions League, you're gonna act like that all the time. Meaning you're not going out on a pub crawl the day before.
You're the Ronaldo of the. Yeah,
you need to be that the way you eat, the way you sleep, the way you train, everything. Yeah. Because this is hard work, running this kind of restaurants. It's hard work. There's no shortcuts. So being serious and professional, one thing.
And having plenty of air miles by the sounds of it. So give us the name of this dish.
It's veal escalope mala with sake glazed maitake and a little bit of umami salad.
That's what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, Bjorn Frantzen. Well, go on then. Bon appetit.
What a day I am.
Can I have a little... No, not a bad day, is it, really? Can I have a little piece of it? Go on,
it's not a sharing dish, is it?
Well, I know it's not a sharing dish, but it is now. It is now. I'm going to have a little bit. Go on then. Go on then, dive in.
Spicy, numbing, umami.
Bit of everything, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It's an absolute flavour bomb. Like umami is everything... I think the way you've layered the dish up as well, you've just got this layer after layer after layer of flavour. It's what really like.
So I've got a day off tomorrow. If we lock up, can you just cook?
Of course. Keep on all day long.
Exactly. Bjorn Frantzen, everybody. There you go. Right, Chef Jonny Lake will be taking over the kitchen duties very shortly. And I'll be chatting some more to Strictly Come Dancing judge Anton Du Beke at the end of the show. But I'll see you back here in a couple of minutes for a little masterclass in red cabbage. I'll see you in a bit. How good was that? Welcome back. Now, there's still loads more to come from my guest, Anton Du Beke, and Chef Jonny Lake will be dropping by the house. That's coming up next. But first, it's time for this week's little masterclass. And this week's masterclass is bang in season at the moment. It's all about red cabbage, braised red cabbage. So the first thing is the red cabbage that we got in here. There are hundreds of different types of cabbage. If you are using red cabbage for things like coleslaw, the best way to do this is salt it, very similar to sort of kimchi. And all you want to do is thinly slice it, take a little bit of table salt or sea salt, sprinkle it over the top, leave it for about 20 to 30 minutes, and all the water, a lot of the water will come out of it. If you don't do that, that, your coleslaw, when you do season it, will end up very, very wet. And that's because all the moisture has come out of the cabbage. So the first thing we want to do is thinly slice it. Now, a lot of people do this on a mandolin professionally, really, with this one, but nice and thin. We don't want to waste any of it, so you can go right the way down to the root, like that, right the way. Now, you can make this with whatever cabbage you want, obviously, this slow cooking one, but the red cabbage works the best, particularly with those ingredients. And so these Christmas sort of spices, you can spice it up. I mean, I've got a little bit of star anise. You can put things like cinnamon. It tends to work with quite robust flavours, this red cabbage. So make sure when you're doing it, it's sliced quite thinly. So one thing you don't want to be doing is slicing it too thick, like that. So once we get to that stage, we've got our cabbage. This can go straight into our pan now. There's nothing else in this pan, it's just that. That can go in. And then with cabbage, of course, then you've got things like apple, which work really well. But with the apple, you can just use a little box grater. Now, I've got a selection of different apples over here. This one's Bramley's, and I think they work with this, really. So take a little box grater like that and just grate it, including the skins. Don't need to peel them. They can go straight in as well. All in. There you go. All the way up like that. These are your classic British apples, really, these ones. And then anything like the Cox's little bit sharp apples, I think, really works quite well. You're going to increase the sugar content, of course, with the red currant jelly and the sugar, but really get that in here. So once you've got that stage, lose them onto one side, and they can go in there. There we go. And then we can think about our sort of liquid side of it. Now, this is where we can start to add everything all in together. The great thing about this, you can make it well in advance. You know, this will last a week in the fridge. You'll be absolutely fine. Don't need to worry about this on Christmas Day. So a little bit of star anise. Star anise are amazing, these little spices. It's a good idea to count them in and count them out, because Granny, if she gets this stuck in her teeth this Christmas Day, it's not very pleasant. So count them in and count them out. The kids can find them afterwards. So 4 in there, and then you can pick them all out once it's cooked. I've got some brown sugar over here. So this is a little bit of demerara. You can use soft brown sugar for this. I would stay away from sort of a dark molasses sort of sugar, really. It's quite strong for that. And then we add some honey. So that combination of a little bit of honey and the sugar, I think, works, because you want the sort of the red cabbage to be sort of sticky at the end of it. So this is going in. This is where you get the stickiness, I think, as well. Red currant jelly. Now you can put some in now, and then some in towards the end. So I'm going to put a little chunk in there, and then what we want is some red wine. And of course, this is going to take 45 minutes to cook. So I would go for a small glass, but we're going to go for a large glass. So it takes a little bit of time to cook, so we need a glass of vino to have a drink. Just point having a little one, why not? It is Christmas after all. Look, pop that in here and put a little bit of red wine in there. And then you want to cook this for a good sort of 45 minutes to an hour. The longer you cook it, the better it is. And while you're cooking it, keep your eye on it. So I've got one that's been on here, like that, that's been cooking away nicely, which we've got in there. And see, it starts to get this sort of stickiness to it. Now, once you get to that stage, we can add more of our red currant jelly, like this. So add the rest of it. There we go. That's going to go in there. And keep continuing to cook this down. So you can see it almost looks as if it's drying all out. If it dries out, a little bit of water, maybe, then more wine, because it'd be a shame to nick some out of your glass. Meanwhile, we're going to turn this to a dish. Now, this is a dish close to my heart, really, because the amazing... My dad, Mr. Brian Turner, a lot of people genuinely think Brian Turner's my dad. He's not. But one of the dishes was the Great British Chef's Book, and it was one of the cookbooks that I got for Christmas when I was a young kid. And it was, I never forget it. And it has a terrine in there. It was by Brian Turner. It has ravioli of Longstein by Eugene McCoy. I remember that there's dishes that you remember. It has the charabais, the sticky toffee pudding. It has red cabbage with a mustard sauce with sea bass by Brian Turner. But this has got dishes like this in it. And this is brilliant this Christmas as well. It's just a wonderful thing. Rather than just having turkey all the damn time, you know what I think about turkey. It's the food of the devil. It's ugly when it's alive, it's worse when it's dead, and no amount of stuffing is ever going to make it taste more interesting. So he's banned from this house. So, it's horrible stuff. Americanized rubbish. Right, look, sorry to all the turkey farmers out there, but yeah. So we're just going to pop that on here. But this is the sea bass. Now, what we want to do is hold a little bit of sea bass in the pan, like that, because sea bass is quite a muscular fish. And as it cooks, it sort of curls up. There's a little bit of oil in here. I'm not putting any salt and pepper in here yet. And we're just going to just gently cook this in there. Now I can put some seasoning on this. Salt and pepper. You just want to make sure it just doesn't curl like that. The little lines on the fish will help that and prevent that a little bit, but just make sure it doesn't curl. Back over to our cabbage now. You can see this is starting to get sticky. This is what you want with the red cabbage, like that. There's stickiness. Now, like I said, you can do this for a variety of different dishes. You don't have to do it on its own as a side order. These work as actual dishes as well. So once you make a decent bit of red cabbage, you've got it for a week. You can use it for a variety of different things. I'm going to turn my attention to one of the dishes over here. This is to flour and breadcrumb. Lovely. So flour and breadcrumb to pane. So you get this, and we've done this with the chicken Kiev as well. But you take a little bit of egg. There we go. In here. And I'm going to serve this with a deep-fried soft-boiled egg. Because at Christmas time, you know what it's like? You get people coming round. Those people who are not invited, they just turn up and they change their minds. All of a sudden, they're vegetarian for this week. And you get it all planned. Well, this is a great thing you can have in the fridge. And it's a wonderful thing you can have and just create something very, very quickly. These are soft-boiled eggs. So 6 minutes, boiling water out, cold water, and we roll them around in the flour. Then in the egg, like that. So the egg goes in the egg, and then in the breadcrumbs. So these are panko breadcrumbs. You can buy these from the supermarket. They're great, these little breadcrumbs. So roll the egg in there, then into the egg. So this creates the little glue that allows you to stick the breadcrumbs on. The reason why I'm using panko crumbs, they create an amazing crust from it as well. You get a great texture. So once you've got them to that stage, you can then pop them back into the egg boxes is the best way. So take the egg boxes, line it with cling film, put the eggs back in. That way they don't miss shape. And you get sort of odd shapes if you do that, hexagonal eggs and weird stuff, if you sort of put them all on top of each other. So put them back into the little egg boxes. So the fish is cooking away nicely. That's just fine. We just leave it to one side like that. Now, this dish is really simple. You just take the egg like that, and then just pop them in the fryer, deep fat fryer. So these are going to go into there, and we're going to fry these for about 30 seconds. Meanwhile, over here, we've got our lovely cabbage over here, like this. We can just take a good amount of this. This is amazing. So I've seasoned this up, and I've hunted out and picked out the star anise that's in here as well. But you can see that there's so much flavour in this. That's the key to it if you cook it. You can mix and match this. You can put sultanas in it if you wish. It's entirely up to you, but just keep it nice and simple, I think, for this one. A little bit of watercress. I love watercress. It goes all year round, watercress. When I go to walk the dog this Christmas, they've got watercress beds all around the house here. But you've got a nice little bit of watercress. And then we've got our eggs. Really, really simple, look. Your eggs you lift out. Look at these little fellas. Done. This is the great thing about this. It's cooked really, really simple, like that. And then you can then take a knife and you can just put the egg on top, like that. But then when you cut them, you see what I mean. When you cut these, they're sort of soft-boiled. Look, in the centre. So you break them open, you've got that sauce. Now, you can either make them with the cabbage that I've got here, a little salad, something like that. Works really, really well. So the sea bass, we're just going to finish this off. Classically, what we do now is get a little bit of butter, because there's a really quick little dish to finish. So a little bit of butter in here. Turn the fish over. See you've got that nice little crust on there. And then what we do, this is what Christmas should smell. It should smell of, look at this, frying this fish over the top. Oh. You take this foaming butter over the top to finish off this fish. Look at it. And you just want to finish off the fish like this. And then we can lift this out. There's so much residual heat in this fish as well. It'll continue to cook it. So I'm going to take the fish out. Then what I'm going to do is just take this gubbins out of here, just drain it off a little bit. There you go. This isn't going on the floor. It's actually got a little waste bin here. I know it's my house, but I just don't do that all the time. Right, we're going to make a nice little sauce. So, little sauce. Deglaze this with white wine. This is a little mustard sauce. Brian, if you're watching this, I know you use stock, but this is an adaptation of your genius recipe. So, a little bit of cream in here. So, cream, a little bit of white wine, and then we take some mustard. I'm going to use 2 different types of mustard. A little bit of Dijon in here, like that. A bit of that, and a little bit of grain in here. So 2 different types of mustard. You get a different sort of flavour with this. So you just get a simplified little flavour. So you've got all the lovely flavours from the pan. We haven't wasted any of it, really. Swish this off. Bit of salt and pepper over the top like that. We can then grab just a touch of lemon just to finish this off in the sauce. That's it. And then what we do to plate it, we can then bring this over. We can then get our lovely cabbage. And you can see this goes sticky. You can pop this in a little jar. Oh, this is amazing, this stuff. So you put a little bit of the cabbage on here. You can see it goes this lovely sticky, like jam sort of texture. And we've got our lovely sauce over here. Like that. Very, very quick, simple little dish. And then you've got your wonderful little sea bass, which you can then lift this off. So you've got your beautiful piece of bass that sits on there. So there you have it. Sort of cabbage, sort of 3 ways, really. Whether you serve it in a pan like this, in a bowl, in a jar, whether you have it cold, whether you have it with a pork pie, whatever you have it. This is amazing, like mixed with a bit of ploughman's as well, if you want it Boxing Day or stuff like that. But however you have it, that's how to cook proper red cabbage. Easy as that. Time now for a quick break now, but join me again in a couple of minutes when the former head chef of the Fat Duck, the 3 Michelin-starred Fat Duck, Jonny Lake, will be here. I'll see you in a minute. It is a big glass, this. Welcome back. Now I'll be dishing up a classic chicken Kiev for Anton Du Beke. That's coming up next. But first, I'm here with a chef whose career has taken him from Canada to Berkshire to Australia, and he's now back in London, and he runs his critically acclaimed restaurant, Trivet. It's the really brilliant Jonny Lake. Good to have you back on the show, Chief.
Great to be back.
Good
Thank you
back
for
in the
having
house.
me.
Huge success on your last dish. So what are you going to be cooking for us then?
We're going to cook a veal sweetbread dish. It's going to be grilled and glazed veal sweetbread and some pickled lingonberries.
OK, so I know you want to get on and finish off the sauce first for this before we talk about the sweetbreads. Yep. I'm going to get on and toast off these sort of spices for you as well. So what have we got, first of all, going on this sauce?
So the sauce is a reduced, we got a reduced veal stock.
Yep.
And we're going to finish it with the toasted cumin seeds that you're going to toast just lightly.
Yep.
And then grind to a powder here. Okay. And then I'm going to finish it with some of that. And this is a blackcurrant mostarda. So it's like a mustardy, spicy blackcurrant jam.
Which is what you've got in here.
Which is this one here.
I'm assuming you make that, do you?
Yeah, we make this. We use, frozen blackcurrants.
Yeah.
And cook them down with a lot of grain mustard, Dijon mustard. Those kind of things.
So that's how quickly our spices are toasted
very
off,
quick.
which is very, very quick, which I'm going to get on and grind these as well.
Okay.
They're going to go in there.
Let's just heat this a little bit.
Yep. There you go.
Thank you.
That's the sauce. I'll fire it up for you a little bit more. There we have it. So this is going here. So about your restaurant, Trivet. So you spent many years at the Fat Duck.
Yes.
This is something different. This is your own place.
Yeah.
How are you finding it?
I mean, it's been amazing. I mean, every chef's dream to have their own restaurant.
Yeah.
We got to, not many get to do it. We got to do it. and we got to have our restaurant in London, which is it's a privilege.
And
really.
very good.
Yeah.
Michelin star, but also numerous awards, particularly because I know you brought some. Not many chefs bring their own wine with them.
Yeah.
But this is quite crucial to your restaurant as well.
Yeah,
There's two of you involved in this.
So, yeah, myself and my partner Isabel, master sommelier, worked together for 18 plus years now.
Master sommelier,
Master
one of the
sommelier.
greatest in the world.
Yeah, I mean, he carries a lot of weight.
Does carry a serious weight. So what does he recommended or you recommend with this? Something from Turkey.
Yeah, so this is a Turkish red wine. I mean, I think the concern that we had with this dish in particular, the cumin flavor is quite pronounced.
Right.
And that it can kill a lot of really good wines.
Right.
So we wanted something that could handle that. So this is a Turkish red wine, 2 grape varieties indigenous to Eastern Turkey. And, it was tricky, but we kind of went with the, general rule of kind of matching food from a region with wine from a region.
Yeah.
A lot of times you're gonna do okay. This is looking pretty good.
So I'll let you finish off your sauce as well.
A little more of the
Now the food that you're
mostarda.
doing is that, I mean, it's very, very different to the Heston, the fat duck.
Yes, I mean, I think obviously, it's a big part of me.
Yeah.
I worked there for a very long time and, learned some amazing things. So, I mean, a lot of the techniques maybe that learned there, that we developed there, but, kind of more in the background now.
I often wondered what that was like. It must be like Willy Wonka of the food world. When he must come back with these ideas and you're going, what are you talking about? What?
Yeah.
Because the ideas must be going crazy, weren't they?
Yeah, it was also a very unique situation there which is, the mentality was anything's possible.
Right.
Let's just find a way to do it. So
I'm moving around everywhere. I'm going to do the lettuce part. You're going to tell us about these sweetbreads now. So
Right.
tell us about these. So the first time we've ever cooked these.
Really?
I think
Okay.
one person's cooked them before, but first of all, what are they? Because people are going to be looking at me going, what on earth are they?
Okay, so this is it's a veal sweetbread.
Yeah.
It's a gland. It's an offal, right?
Yeah.
It's a gland in and around the heart.
So if people want to do these at home, you buy them. They don't look like that, but when you buy them, you just gently poach them, would you say?
I would, in like simmering water, really quick, and then ice to. You then need to kind of clean them. There's like a membrane there you need to peel off, and that helps get that off.
Yeah.
And then once you have that, you can finish it any way you want. So this is what we've got now, basically.
I've got it here. So we got a little bit of charnish. You want me to finish this off with a little bit of this red wine vinegar?
Yeah, give it quite a bit.
You tell me when.
Okay. It's probably good now.
Happy with that?
Yeah. And then maybe turn up the heat and really
start to...
Yeah, fire that radicchio a little bit. Okay.
Okay, so this is going to start... It goes like a jam, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's what you want?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not too far.
Okay.
And then in the meantime, I'm going to start to grill the sweetbreads.
Right, okay.
So I'm just going to kind of... A little bit of... Maybe put it on a little tray.
Yeah. I'll move out your way.
Okay.
Because often with these, people are looking at it and going, what on earth do I do with it? But once you learn how to cook stuff like this, you never know until you try, do you?
No, I think it's, you just got to...
Try it.
Yeah, have the courage to try new things. And so just going to...
And it's often when you try these things, because I say it's a chef's sort of cut. I remember I go to a lot of restaurants, and if these are ever on the menu, chefs will go for them, don't they, really?
Yeah, and I think I think I've always found that if you can establish yourself as someone that can cook them well, people will search you out.
People will find you, exactly.
Just going to wash my hands really quick.
That's all right. So this is this, and it goes like a little stickiness to it as well, this.
Yeah.
You happy with that?
I think we can take it off and let it rest now.
Okay, there you go. That's that. I will move that over there as well. Now obviously, I mentioned the fact that you've travelled all over the world as well. I mean, we've got Bjorn.
Quite fortunate.
We're Bjorn on the show as well. You're looking at sort of that Japanese influence. Where do you take your influences from? Because I get the feeling you've gone through the modern. You don't get any more modern than the fat duck, really.
Some pretty modern techniques there.
Very, very modern.
But always based on like solid French cooking.
But it comes back to this French style of cooking.
Yeah.
And all they use, from Canada. What brought you on this food journey? What brought you? Well, why you ended up in Hampshire here.
Yeah.
But what
Today,
brought you? What brought you from Canada?
I think, I started cooking a little bit later than some of my peers. And, I think it was, I first went to Italy and then to France. And, for a few years there, just made my way through and ended up kind of in a pretty amazing restaurant in Fat Duck. And met some amazing people through that and just kept going.
There's a time of that era, wasn't it? 2005, 2010. That era for you as a brigade, you as a team.
It was incredible.
That was your moment, wasn't it?
It was incredible, and I feel very kind of fortunate to have been part of that.
Yeah.
And I look back on it now, and like all the people that I worked with at that time and what they've gone on to do
is like the ultimate family tree.
Pretty incredible, yeah. So I think we're pretty close there now.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So maybe just leave them on the side. Okay.
So, and then you're going to glaze these.
Yeah, we're going to glaze them now. So let's get this back kind of hot again.
Get it hot, yeah. So what's in the glaze then?
So the glaze, this is just it's the veal stock, the same there, but reduced even further. Right. And just with some butter whisked into it to give it a nice kind of...
Right. So it's really nice and thick. This is, again, your classic French techniques, as I
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I might just put them straight into here, actually. I might do that.
I love how he's going to change his mind.
Just turn it down a bit. Yeah.
Just sit them in there would be good, though, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So we've got the cabbage done.
Yeah.
What's next? We're on our final leg, aren't we?
We're on our final leg. Most of the part's done. I might take that.
You want that?
Just to put these on, I think.
Now, if that wasn't pressure enough, well, didn't you do something recently in the summer for the world's 50 best?
We did. The world's 50 best awards. It's a circus, really. And
it's a circus.
It was in London this summer.
Yeah.
The awards, and so you had chefs from all over the world, all the people you look up to.
Yeah.
And we hosted a dinner with Andreas Caminata, 3-star chef from Switzerland.
Yeah.
And we got a little bit out of our comfort zone. We did a tasting menu with him. We were an a la carte restaurant, so it was interesting. A lot of fun.
Yeah. Right, we're ready to plate.
We're plating.
I'll bring the plates over.
Okay.
There we go. I'll let you warm everything up. I'll take charge of that for you. Out of the way.
Thank you.
And then we're ready. I'll bring this over when you're ready. So the cabbage, we finished that off just with a little bit of red wine vinegar. I've not put any salt, no pepper in there yet.
Okay, we'll give it a quick.
There's nothing in there yet.
Okay, so here we go. So a good amount of the braised radicchio. The middle. Yeah, thank you.
People are going to be searching out for this, definitely.
Hope so. Okay, that's enough of that.
Yeah.
You want the sweetbreads over?
I mean, look at that glaze on there as well. They're just
beautiful. Okay, one there. Give this a bit of shape there.
That's for the chef, is it?
That's the chef. Yeah.
Okay.
So we need a bit of pepper there.
Yeah.
The one thing we didn't do on the mushrooms is the smoked oil.
So tell me about this smoked oil. You want a little drizzle of this over the top?
Yes, this is a smoked olive oil from, it's a Spanish olive oil, smoked olive oil. I use it quite a bit. And I mean, it's really consistent as well. It's always kind of the same level of smokiness.
But when you look at smoked oils, you're looking at smoked oils from different places, particularly smoked rapeseed oil. It can be really strong.
It's nice and gentle, this one.
Yeah.
So we're just going to place these here.
I'll warm your sauce up for you.
Thank you.
You've got it.
Let's give it a little whisk.
Right, there you go.
There we are.
That's ready when you're at. So ready for the sauce when you're at.
So we're just going to, just before we sauce it, we're going to, these are some pickled lingonberries.
Right.
In and around September, October, the wild lingonberries start coming in from people. They bring them in from Sweden.
Yeah.
And we buy them like kilos and kilos and pickle them. It's a really sweet pickle. But I love the I love the tartness, and when you get the wild ones, there's a real...
Particularly this time of year, this is going to go well with everything this time of year, isn't
There's a real pop to them, like a real burst. Just put some around. Like that. And then we'll finish with our sauce.
I'm loving this.
I mean, we spend a lot of time with the sauces at the restaurant.
Yeah.
I think, especially with the wine, I mean, it's always the sauce that carries the pairing, you know.
But I say to young chefs, I said, well, what makes the difference between each of the chefs? Just look at the way this gentleman works. There's a care there, which you can't teach.
You have to care.
Yeah, but you can't teach it. Do you know what I mean? So that looks beautiful. So give us the name of this dish.
Okay, so this is the grilled and glazed sweetbread with smoked maitake mushroom and wild cumin and pickled lingonberries.
As good as it gets. Jonny Lake, everybody. Thank you. Go on then, chef. You've got to try your own dish. We've got our own. You brought the wine. Be rude not to. Just
let's have it.
Sit here and have something to eat. But that's the thing. So, look at this. You're happy with that, aren't you?
Very. Yeah.
It's a great plate of food. You just get a flavour hit. And like you say, those little berries, they pop.
Pop and the radicchio, the bitterness there with the acidity from the Cab Sauv vinegar just cutting through it.
And with this is the perfect meal, really. That is absolutely spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. Jonny Lake, everybody. That is an amazing plate of food. Thank you for coming.
So much.
We've still got time for one more final course. Join us again after the break, when I'll be back behind the hobs treating Anton Du Beke to a little chicken Kiev with ratatouille. I'll see you in a bit. That is absolutely delicious. Welcome back. I'm here in the kitchen with the one and only Anton Du Beke. Right. So I'm going to do you a sort of variant of chicken Kiev.
Rightio.
Chicken Kiev, ratatouille.
Yeah.
You've had your sort of dessert earlier. We're going to do this. So chicken Kiev, I'm going to drop it in the fryer. The reason why I'm going to drop these in the fryer now is they're going to cook while I show you how to make a Kiev, which is over here. So we're going to pop these in the fryer.
They're large bits, aren't they? That's
well, they're set. The fryer's set at 160 degrees, so not too hot, because you don't want to get this brown. Otherwise, it doesn't cook through the middle, and also if it's too hot, it cooks on the outside, doesn't cook in the middle, and the butter doesn't soften. So you just want to set that 160. Needs to cook for about 8-9 minutes, something like that.
Oh, not long then?
Yeah, not with a fire like that. So air fryers, I've got no idea what an air fryer is. I don't even want to entertain one.
No.
So
I wouldn't.
They're just pointless bits of kit to me.
Oh no, you're quite right.
So now we're going to do our butter.
Quite passionate, isn't it? It's quite
exactly. So we're going to do a little bit of butter to go with this. So a little bit of garlic. I trust you like garlic.
Yes, I love garlic.
So a little bit of garlic. We're doing a garlic butter, but I'm going to flavour this slightly differently.
Right.
With anchovy.
Right. Really?
Yes.
Anchovy?
You're not keen on anchovy?
I can't stand an anchovy.
We'll put extra anchovy in for you.
What are you talking about? It makes me go.
We'll put a load of anchovy in it.
We might have a nasty.
Are you on stage tonight? So we'll put with a little bit of anchovy, ish. We'll put a little bit of capers in there, some mint, a little bit of basil as well to go in there into this butter. So first of all, I wanted to.
Did you say mint?
Yeah, a little bit of mint. A little bit of mint. So it's well, if you put mint, all these ingredients, you know, salsa verde. Have you ever?
Yes, yeah.
Well, you like anchovies because that's.
Oh, I have it without. I have it.
No, you don't. You don't even know there's anchovies in it.
Oh, how very dare you!
I'd
like to say I've never been so insulted, but it wouldn't be true.
So anyway, we're going to mix all this lot together with the butter and everything else. Add the little bit of anchovy, some capers. So
I love Christmas, by the way.
You like Christmas?
Oh, I get ridiculous. My children are ridiculously excited about Christmas.
So tell us about what you're doing at the moment, because we mentioned earlier about your tour. I know you love touring as well. But this is right up your street, touring, but just talking about yourself.
Talking and talking about me. No. But it's just the idea of I love connecting with an audience. I love a situation. I don't want to keep it to myself. I don't. And when I'm on stage, I'm not doing a lecture or doing a workshop.
Right.
You know, I'm doing a show, and I want the audience to be part of the show. They don't want to just sit there and have me do stuff to them. I want to involve them.
But you love being out on the road, though, don't you? Really?
I enjoy it. I do enjoy it, but I don't stay away. So I come home after every show.
That must have changed because you've got the family now and
the children are 5.5. Very important.
Yeah.
And I love being at home, especially this time of year. But I mean, I'm going on the road in April and May, but so it's you know, they say about things like it's time you never get back, and they grow so quickly, and it's all absolutely true. And you don't want to miss a minute because and to use the word magical it's not a big enough word. It is everything. It's everything life should be. So we have a great time together.
So tell me about we didn't even mention.
Oh, well, I'm doing panto right now.
Well,
so I'm on panto at the moment.
I know you're
and
doing
we're doing Strictly at the moment. So it's all go.
We didn't mention Strictly because Strictly for you, being the judge. I mean that must be a great phone call for you, particularly because it's. You know, I know you were gunning for it as well.
Well, I was hoping. You know, I mean, last year was lovely because they said, you know, Bruno can't come over with all the thing with the COVID and everything. So would you do it this year? And I went, I'd love to.
Yes.
I went. Oh, let me give it a minute. Let me just think for a second. I went, yes. I'd love. Thank you. You know, I was brilliant. And I told my wife, and she cried. And so happy. Yeah, I mean, it was wonderful. We sort of hoped to do it, and hope if the opportunity came along, we'd hope you, because you can't guarantee they're even going to ask you. So, you know, you hope if the opportunity comes along that they'd ask, and they did. And
we've got to talk about it
because
it's been. I mean, I think I did series 3. It's nearly 16 years ago now.
That's what you did, yeah. So this year is the 20th series.
Yeah.
20th series. Can you imagine? And I was lucky enough to dance in 18 of them, so I started at the beginning.
Did you? I mean, you obviously knew about the format before. I remember my granny. She used to watch the original format before, and I used to sit there and watch it with her.
Yeah. Well, yes, of course. It was 50 years. The old Come Dancing was on the television.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant. But you know, it did go a bit out of date. And I remember doing it one year and sort of rather having not done it.
But is that? I never asked you this really. I never ask anybody that's done it as a professional and that kind of stuff. When you look at Strictly, is it like that people look at cookery shows? I know I shouldn't be saying it, but if people look at cookery shows and go, it always had a negative effect back then. Now it's changed a bit. Now you get some of the most amazing chefs in the world on. But do you know what I mean? Now
you wouldn't have a top class chef doing a cookery show.
You know what I mean? It was always.
Sort of a bit beneath them and all that.
Was that the same in the world of dance?
Yeah,
and stuff like
it was
that?
a bit. I mean, we didn't, you know, when they first mooted that they were going to make this show called Strictly Come Dancing, it was going to be called Pro Celebrity Come Dancing in those days. It was a sort of a combination of the old Come Dancing and the Pro Celebrity Golf. So you get a professional and a celebrity, exactly what it is. But we thought it was going to be a Mickey take. And the business didn't really want to get involved. And they were all a bit sort of poo-pooing the idea. And they said they were going to make it anyway, whether the boring people did it or not. Yeah. And we thought, well, we'd rather be in it than not in it because, you know, hopefully we can make it look like what we do. Yeah. Well, once we started, it was totally different. And it was exactly what we did. We just did it with a celebrity, somebody, a beginner. But the competition was real. As you know, although it's a TV show, and it's the same with the cookery shows, although it is all telly and it's marvellous,
it's still real.
There's a real thing going on here, and that's that, and it's the number. Yeah. And for a moment there, this is proper.
No, it is. You're exactly right.
And you want to show, and I'm doing this. I've committed to this, and I'm going to do it properly.
Well, like I said on this show, I've always said, you know, food is so important. The food is as equal to the guests.
Well, you say that. I don't think anybody really believes you, but it's lovely of you to say it out there. I mean, if you believe it, that's fine.
I did that as a reaction. Right, so we got while I do this chicken, basically I'm going to make a little chicken Kiev. I've made the butter that I've got in here. You roll it up in a little bit of cling film like that, and then what you do to make the chicken Kiev, the best way to do it is buy the chicken with the bone in, but also with a fillet underneath. And we take a little bit of that fillet out of there, and then with the knife, use the fattest part of the chicken. pop your knife in and just open up this little pocket. Now, what you want to do is you want to use a knife like this that's thin, not a knife like this which is wide, because you're creating a small pocket, but you want sort of a big hole inside. And then what you do is you take your butter, and that then goes into there. So you fill in, and the idea is that it doesn't leak out, you see? So the butter doesn't come out. And you use this as a little plug for the little hole, like that. And then what you want to do is double pan it. So you take flour, egg, and breadcrumbs, which I'll do in a second, and then start to flour. But what you do is you put it in flour first, then in the egg, then back in the flour, then in the egg, and then crumb it. And then over here we've got...
Why do you do that?
Because you want to you're creating a thicker glue to go with it, because what you don't want to do is allow it to sort of, the butter to come out. So we're going to mix all that stuff together. Meanwhile, you can tell us about this amazing book that you've got out.
Oh, right, the Ballroom Blitz.
Your best-selling book.
My best-selling book. Thank you.
This is book number five.
Number 5, yeah.
So tell us about the storyline of it.
Well,
what can you give away?
It's set in the Buckingham Hotel. As I say, the backdrop is the Blitz. And the thing I love about setting it like that is you have the upstairs and the downstairs of the hotel. Sort of what's the Downton Abbey?
Yep.
Sort of affair. And I love that intrigue of what's upstairs and the downstairs, and also that sort of same upstairs and downstairs of individual people. So, as I said before, that, you know, we see you as a great chef, but your backstory is so fascinating and where you came from. And, of course, there's the shenanigans of the actual hotel with the backdrop of the Blitz and real life. So although they're catering for all these dignitaries and landed gentry upstairs, downstairs, their houses are being bombed and their families are. So there's all of that going on.
Anton Du Beke, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in the house today. We could talk forever. Best luck with the tour.
Thank you.
I'll get you to taste this in a minute. But Anton Du Beke, everybody.
Oh, thank you.
Well, there you go. Dive into that one.
Oh, look at that.
Hey? Chicken Kiev.
I know this is rubbish, and everybody says this on television who eats food from a chef, but it smells amazing. Everyone at home goes, oh, yeah, I bet it does. But it does. Oh, look at that. Look, listen. Oh, ooze away my beauty.
Tell me what you think.
You haven't got massive amounts of anchovy.
It's not got loads of anchovy in it.
That's so brilliant. It's so...
Can I just say, it's been an absolute pleasure having you at the house all morning. Like I said, it's a pleasure. Best of luck with the book. I'll be joining you on stage, I'm sure.
Yes,
I'm going to do that. Palladium, I'm definitely booked for that one. But that's it. That's all we've got time for today. A massive thank you to all my guests, the brilliant Tommy Banks, Jonny Lake, Bjorn Frantzen, and of course, the brilliant Anton Du Beke.
Thank you.
Yeah, there he is, talking about himself still. Now, right, we'll see you back here at the same time next Saturday morning, where we'll be joined by more great chefs, other brilliant guests. Until then, take care, stay safe. He'll still be here.
I'll still be here.
See you in my house next week.
Let me tell you about me.
Yeah, exactly.
See you next week.